And welcome to Sports Flashes. I am Rahul Pandey and you're listening to The Captain Speaks, a web session series organized by Pro India in association with Sports Flashes, talking about the intricacies, the several intricacies of the beautiful game, the game we love to talk about and of course discuss about. That is basically what we do here. So today we are going to talk about another interesting aspect of the game, scouting. Yes, a very interesting and integral topic to the sport, and one that has evolved so much over the years. So joining us in the session, our chief speaker, Mr. David Hobson, who is the founder of Professional Football Scouts Association in the United Kingdom. Mr. Hobson has over 20 years of experience in scouting for various football clubs like Manchester United, Bolton Wanderers and Blackburn Rovers. He used to be the coordinator for Manchester United's development centre in northwest of England. So he has joined us today, and alongside we will also be joined by several personnel from the Indian football circuit, and we'll get to them in a short while. But before that, welcome David, how are you?
Fine, thank you. It's I'm very honoured to be invited to the webinar today from Pro India, and thank Aparup, and I'm here to give you as much of my experience of what I can.
Yeah, sure. And the first questions first, David. What exactly is the role of a football scout, and what are the day-to-day jobs that encompass under his responsibility, his or her responsibility?
Well, there's a lot of positions that a football scout can hold. It's not just a case of it's a football scout turns up on a football pitch and he's a good player. It's like, how can I put it? It's like you've got to build from the bottom. So you have what you call starting off the foundation phase scouting. Now, the foundation phase scouting is like 6 to 9 years of age, and what you do then is you mainly teach the children, the younger ones, mainly football skills. So your inside turn, your outside turn, things like that. And you just keep practicing the skills, because as they get to the age of 12, it's like a funnel. Yeah. So when they're very young, they can take in all the information and it stays with them for the rest of their life. But as they start getting older and more information goes into the brain, the pathway gets a little bit smaller, so they can't learn as much. So really, the early stages is the foundation phase, and then you've got the youth phase of scouting, and then you've got the professional side of the scouting. But before you can do any scouting, you've got to really learn, right, what you're looking for. Yeah, you've got to understand what you're looking for. And normally that is split up into 4 sections. You're looking at the technical side. Well, it's called the 4-corner model. So you're looking at the technical side, the psychological side, the physical side, and the sociological side. Yeah. So what happens then is, say for technical, for example, you're doing ball control, you're playing football on different surfaces, you're playing a lot of 1v1 with your friends, out in the streets, out in the park, wherever you go. You've got to learn about possession, understanding pressure, when people pressurise you to get the ball, they've got to understand your positioning, and also making space and your foot skills. So that's the technical side of what you've got to teach the young players. But as a football scout, the football scout can't bring in any football players to a football club unless he knows what that football club wants. Yeah. And not only that, everything that you do is a team effort. Yeah. So the scouts work with the coaches. Now, the scouts understand what the coach requires for their football club to coach that person. So say we find a little 7-8-year-old. Now I know that looking at that football player, is he good enough to go into the Manchester United Development Centre? Because I've been going there for years and years and years. I know what the standard is. Yeah. So I think, yeah, he's a good player. We can improve him. Now, if I bring him in to start off with, he's not as good as the other football players. That's expected. Yeah. So we teach him some of the technical side of it. Then you've also got to look at the psychological side of football scouting, yeah, and with the players when you're looking for these players, and that's, can the player do, what's his decision making like? Is he gaining confidence? Is he learning new skills? Is he patient? Is he a person that listens? Because if you can't listen, you can't learn. So all these things all go in. He's got to learn about mistakes. He's got to learn about rules. He's got to learn about awareness. So there's lots of things that you need to know what you're looking for in a player before you even go to look for that player, because you can't write a report on something you know nothing about. Yeah. So if somebody says to you, right, I'll teach you how to be a football scout, this is how we do a report. Well, you can get a report off Insta, you can get a report off Y Scout. Well, you don't get reports on the foundation phase, which is the 6, 7, 8, 9s, 10s and 11s, because it's not done. So again, then you've got the sociological side of looking at the player, and that's a lot to do with his family, what background he comes from, is he a team player? Can he play in a team? Does he does he applaud other people and encourage other people when he's playing football? Like, come on a parrot, you know what I mean? Get the ball down the wing, like that. His communication skills, you need to look at his communication skills and all. If he has any communication skills at that age, offering help and advice to his other players, making new friends, because you take a young football player out of, say, the local environment where he's playing with his local team, and then all of a sudden you take that person and you put him into a professional environment. He's got to make new friends. He's not going to be the best player there. He's there to learn, he's there to develop. So he might be going into a group of 22 people and he's not in the first 10 because he's not been there long enough to be developed, to be taught the things he's supposed to be taught. And not only that, with the younger age group, is he enjoying it? The main thing is enjoyment. If they're enjoying themselves and, everything's going all right at home, that's fine. And also you've got to look at the other corner model, which is the physical side of it. Now, some football clubs want big, strong boys. They can play football, right? But if you look at Lionel Messi, right, and these are the things that we teach. Lionel Messi, Sergio Aguero, they were small, little, tiny things when they were younger. So don't let you need to learn that. Just because you see something at that moment in time, and he's a big, strong lad, doesn't mean that the others are not going to catch up to him. So again, you've got to look at, the buyer banding. Buyer banding is, sometimes in some football clubs, what they do is they don't put them in ages, they put them in sizes. So all the 5 foot players, no matter whether one's 12, one's 11 and one's 9, they put them all together, to see how they perform with people of their own size. So there's lots and lots of things. There's lots of things that goes up, that you've got to learn first before you can even go football scouting. You've got to learn all these things. And, children, they grow at different ages. So at one point, you might find a boy's the best player in the group, one of the best players that you've got. And then all of a sudden, as he starts growing and his muscles are not formed because he's grown 2 inches in a month, he starts going down the order. You're thinking, well, what's wrong with him? But you've got to then know all about, growth spurts, growth indicators. The best players when they're young, as I said, as the muscles grow and they're extending in height, the running style changes. So they've got a different running style. So all these things you've got to look into, And this is what we do on our courses. That's why we start at the very beginning, so you know what you're looking for in the first place. And then once you go out then to do your football scouting and you've got all this information, and you've had a practice and got the information, then what you do then is you go to the football club, you see what sort of players they've already got, look at them players and think, right, okay, so that's me marker point. So now I need to find somebody better in the full-back position than a Parrott.
Yeah. And one question I wanted to ask you, David, you did just mention Manchester United. Well, they have been one of the best clubs as far as the youth development centres are concerned, and one of the best teams as far as bringing in talent from all across the world is concerned. We have seen so many players coming in from different parts of Europe, from different parts of North America or South America as well. Did want to talk about that particular aspect because, over the years, one thing which has changed in football is the way how people communicate. With the advent of technology, you have the web media as one of the easiest methods to communicate to someone, and it has gotten easy to get in touch with anyone. So has the role of a football scout really changed in the sense that it's not so much so a physical presence which is required at all times, but also the knowledge of data analytics, which is quite clearly present on the online media handles?
Well, what the football scout does is he finds the football player to give to the performance analysis people or the data analytic people, because there's people that do opposition analysis. So, they're looking at different things. You've got performance analysis, you've got tactical analysis, you've got individual analysis, you've got foundation phase analysis. So at the end of the day, even though you've got the technology, it depends what you're looking for. You can't, the younger age group that you need to build your country. So say you have a 10-year plan, and you get a 7-year-old young player, So you've got to build him up for them 10 years. Well, there's no way that, one, you can't, they can send you pictures, they can send you DVDs. I get DVDs all the time. I get links all the time. But when they send you these links and the DVDs, they never show me anything on them DVDs when they fall over. The goalkeeper never shows me when he throws the ball in the back of the net. It's all put together how they want you to perceive them as a football player. I've even seen in my lifetime, and this was so funny, I got a DVD one day and I'd been to the same match that I'd got the DVD from. I went there live to watch the game, and somebody, had sent me a DVD and they'd superimposed the son's head on the player. You know what I mean? So you can't go off things like that. You can do, when they start playing, but at the younger age groups you can't. The older age groups, you're not going to need a football scout because 14 years of age and above, and it depends in India what age you start. I mean, in the UK sometimes they start 12 years of age, so they start doing the performance analysis at 12 years of age, and they're recording all the games and the pass rate and everything like that. But you've got to get them to that 12 years of age first, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you've got to build up centres. I mean, at present, I'm working in Egypt with the Egyptian sports minister, and what they're doing is they're starting at ages of 6 years of age, and they're going up to 16 years of age. But we're organising 22 centres in Egypt. So in each centre in Egypt, you'll have players from the ages of 6 to 9, 9 to 11, 12 to 13, 12 to 14, 15 to 17, and they'll be getting the coaching by the coaches, and we've done courses already for the scouts over there. That went very well. And then at these 22 centres, what they're going to do then is they're going to have a Super League for the 22 centres, So all these centres will play each other every single week. And then they're getting the experience at the same time, and then they're going to be fed then into the Egyptian national teams.
And that the credit can be given in some way or the other to Mohamed Salah and players like Mohamed Salah as well, because that obviously gives a certain encouragement to the youngsters who want to take up the game pretty early on. And
what we've done, that is the remit. They want to find some more Mo Salahs.
Yeah,
that is it. That is the remit. If Mo Salah said he wanted to be president of Egypt tomorrow, they'd all vote for him, wouldn't they? But what would they do? What would they do if Mo Salah moved to Manchester United? Would they all dump the Liverpool shirts and go to Manchester United? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that one day.
Totally, but I don't think there would be quite many Liverpool fans who will agree to this. But David, you also mentioned that there's a certain age difference, and there's obviously going to be a difference when you approach the younger players. And in football, of course, more than any other sport, when the money has come in, or the kind of professionalism that has come in, it's gotten more organized. And over the years, what we have seen as more and more younger people getting enthusiastic about taking up the sport at a younger age. How difficult has it gotten for football scouts to communicate with these youngsters? Because it may as well be pretty easy to get deviated towards the luxurious side of the game, the more fancy side of the sport, and forget all the basics. So how difficult is it for you to monitor a player and his growth at a younger age?
Well, it's like anything else. We have our rules and regulations in the UK, which you probably do in India, about child protection and things like that, looking after the children, making sure, that they're okay, they're not getting abused in any way, or they're not, loads of different things, loads of different ways of doing it. So without really knowing what your rules and regulations are, what we do, the best way to do it is you just turn up at football games, or maybe ring the football club up, which we do. An amateur football club like Pro India United, we'd ring them up, have a word with a Parrot and say, Parrot, we'd like to come down on Saturday to watch the game. Please don't let anybody know that I'm coming if you can help it. And we'll see if there's any players there that is good enough. I was fortunate enough that in the area where I live, every single person at every single youth football club knew me anyway, knew that it was at Manchester United Football Club. But what I used to do at the same time is, if they was having a fundraising evening, and they wanted to sign Manchester United shirt, or they wanted some tickets, I'd give a shirt to the club. So it generated some money for the football club at the same time. And then what they do on certain occasions, they'd ring me up and say, David, we've got a new player turned up. He's just come to live in this area from London. Would you like to come down and have a look in? And I'd go down and have a look at the player. It's enjoyable, but again, you've got to know what you're looking for, and if that player can fit into your football club. Now, there's not many players can fit into Manchester United Football Club, is there? There's not many going to fit in. So what do? Right, okay. So I find a player. Now I know he's not good enough for Manchester United Football Club, but because he's working at such a peak, at the highest level possible, in the world probably, that what you do is, or what I did is, the local football club that was in the Championship at the time, Preston North End, what I'd say, well, look, he's not good enough for Manchester United, so I'd get on the phone to my boss and say, look, I've looked at this player, he's not good enough for us, but I'm going to send him down to Preston North End. Now, I knew that player, even though he wasn't good enough for us, was probably good enough for Preston North End, because I already knew at that time what sort of players that they had. And one time, and one season alone, I put 27 players into a Championship club, which was more players than the whole combined network of the football club. And that was only because, again, what I used to do is, my little centre where I had 15 players in, when they got to 9 years of age, them 15 players have been playing football together as a team since the age of 6, twice a week. Now, you've got 15 players. Manchester United aren't going to sign all them 15 players. They just want the best 2. So, well, best 2 could be best 3, could be best 4. And not only that, you're competing against another 22 centres. Yeah? They all want to put their players in, all want to get their players in at the same time. So once the Manchester United had picked the players that they wanted, I took the other 10 players straight to Preston North End, plopped them in at Preston North End at 9 years of age, and they had a ready-made team. And Manchester United, I worked out on that group of 10 players, Manchester United, over a period from 5 years of age to 9 years of age, that's paying the coaches to coach the kids, that's the hire of the sports hall, that's the scouts' expenses and all the equipment. They put £100,000 worth of time and money into them 10 players. Well, at least them 10 players have now, I didn't just say, right, go back to your local football club, right, what's the next 10? I always try to get them on to the ladder at some point. So just say, you've got the Indian Super League. They might not be good enough for some of the Indian Super League sides. They might not be able to travel to the Indian Super League sides. I don't know. So, you need a local little feeder club where you can put that player in and have ties with that football club. And then eventually, if the player improves, which they probably will do with the right coaching, he can go into an Indian Super League club later on.
David, interestingly, I have been monitoring the current Manchester United side as well, and one of the key factors for this team, which has looked, in a better place, in a better position in the last 2 to 3 months, is that there's a certain tradition attached and associated to the club that you just talked about. As far as Manchester United is concerned, there's always going to be a certain set of players who fit in the side, no matter how good you are. If you don't fit the Manchester United way, you're not going to be part of the club. And that, I think, has, the credit has to be given to Sir Alex Ferguson a lot for the way he has positioned this club as a global entity as well. So, I just wanted to ask, what is it, or what is the secret for Manchester United? What is the formula? How do you cultivate that team into a global brand that it is today? How difficult is it for other clubs? Because I don't certainly see many Premier League clubs who go forward to scout so much so like Manchester United does. Even though, and to be very honest, today the technology is there and a lot many clubs are doing a lot many great things. We have seen the transformation that Liverpool has gone under Manchester City, but Manchester United has had this, I think for almost 2 to 3 decades, for almost last 2 to 3 decades, this placement as a global brand that scouts really well. You have been part of this brand. So tell us about your experience at Manchester United and how do things go by in that club that makes it so successful?
Well, it goes right back to when I first come on the show and I spoke to you. It's a team effort. It's everybody. Everybody's got to work together. Everybody knows everybody. The scouts work with the coaches work with the performance analysis people. They're not vying to get a better position. They're happy at doing the job, what they're doing. And, fair enough. You look at some of the players that come through up to now, Mason Greenwood, you've got Ratchford, all come through the academies. That's what I'm saying. I mean, in Egypt, they understand this. We've explained to them, this is what we do, that's how you do it, and then eventually these players will come through. Now, you're talking £200 million worth of talent there, and they might spend, £1 million a year. But, again, you have to take into account that Manchester United had a little bit of a changeover, a few managers come in, you had Louis van Gaal, you had David Moyes. I don't think they quite understood the things that Alex Ferguson did or they maybe wanted to, stamp their authority on it and do it their way. And we don't want these people here now. I want my own people to come into a football club. So you get a new manager, and then part of that is that manager travels wherever he goes with his own team. So his own, his assistant manager that he trusts, and he brings his coach with him, and he brings his fitness expert with him. And, and then Man United, you've got to start from scratch again, haven't you? So you've had these two lots of managers. Now they've brought somebody in, right, which is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, he's done the United way all his life, hasn't he? So what he's doing now is he's putting it back to how he knew it was before. When the other two managers, I wouldn't say they've tried their expectations, and I don't think it's worked. So now you've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there, and then what he's done, he's brought Mike Phelan back, which was Alex Ferguson's number 2. I mean, Mike Phelan has actually been on our courses in the UK. And then also at the same time, there's things that you people don't understand, that, there's other backroom people. I mean, they've got a great lad there called Michael Clegg that does the strength and conditioning. When the players, he looks after the players, and he looks after the strength and the conditioning and the nutrition and everything like that. Now, Michael Clegg is the son of Michael Clegg Senior. Now, Michael Clegg Senior was the strength and conditioning coach and the nutritional coach for Alex Ferguson. So he did everything for Ronaldo, Rooney, Giggs, Class of 92, Cantona, everything. So now his son, Michael, great lad, also, he was at Sunderland, doing work up in Sunderland. Now he joined the team the last 12, I think he's been there 12 months now. We've had a bit with the lockdown and everything like that. But again, he's got all that wealth and experience he can draw off his father. He's got his own wealth, experience, what he's got himself over the years. And then you've got Mike Phelan back that worked with Alex Ferguson. You've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back. So, yeah, we're starting to improve.
Yeah.
And it's all about having the right team. You've got to have the right team of people together. It's not a case of, look at me, I'm the best one, I want to do this, can I do that? I'll be in charge of this. No, you've got, if somebody makes a mistake, yeah, you don't say it was his mistake, yeah. What you do is you look at how you can put that mistake right as a team so it doesn't happen again. We all make mistakes.
And truly, Manchester United has been looking a different side under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Part of that also goes to say that he was an integral member of the Sir Alex Ferguson team and knows how to do things the Sir Alex Ferguson way. And of course, no matter how much United fans have said over the years that Jose Mourinho could have been the chosen one, the real chosen one might just be at the Old Trafford as of this moment. Just today. Well said and well done, David. And I'm really sure that your initiation that you have done with the Professional Football Scouts Association in England will inspire a lot many in different countries. And I would now want to give it up to my co-moderator, Aparup Chakrabarti, to take forward our web session from here.
All right. Thank you, David. Thank you, Rahul. It has been a very, very fascinating conversation regarding the scouting and the coaching. All right, let me introduce, talking about the coach, yes, we have Mr. Ranjan Chaudhary from India. He is the project director of the East Bengal Club, and he was formerly attached with the director as a director of youth development of Pune FC and the chief coach of a Tata Football Academy. So he has been involved in the football in Germany and India since last 20 years. Welcome to our show, Mr. Chaudhary. And you have scouted hundreds of kids who eventually played for India. And how is scouting in Germany is different from the scouting in India?
In fact, I was in Germany. I stayed 5-6 years, and after finished my degree in Sports University Cologne, I was engaged at FC Cologne under 12. Yes. Because the concept in Germany, which I've learned, they're very strong, trained to play, which I have gathered during my assistant coaches under 12. At the time, Gunagiris, Sanj, all was engaged. But thing was I appreciate that the Cologne club, they have their own philosophy, and they follow from 8 years to everybody's following the same methods, which is really, really, I liked it, and I have gathered that experiences. Anyway, 89, I joined Tata Football Academy, and it was the first revolutionary academy in India. At that time, there is no any single academy in any discipline, badminton, nothing. There is nothing, and it was a very, very challenging academy. And Mr. Rushamudi told me, Ranjan, first you go for research whole country. You must understand the psychology, or because India have a facilities country, different languages, different type of, which I have 6 months, I covered most of the country, and after that I started under 12. But most important thing, which I have, of course, in my journey, I have covered more than 3,000-4,000. I've scouted talents, and out of that, more than 200 talents they played the country.
Very interesting phenomenon I came across a few days back was to see how Memphis Depay actually found out his football club, how he looked forward to a football club that can help him and his growth. So is it a sort of new trend which is coming that players are now looking into the data sets, the analytics? We talked about how web has changed things. So is it also a new phenomenon that is coming in that players can now on their own look for clubs? And does this actually risk or put at risk the work of football scouts and data and analytics people?
Well, you look at the situation now with coaches, yeah? You have a UEFA A Pro double star, triple star license, yeah, but you can't get a job because all the jobs are filled. It's just, it's been flooded, hasn't it, wherever you go. So some of these people have to go to India, some of them go to America, some of them go to Australia, yeah. But football scouts, it's only 7 years old. So India, in retrospect, are 7 years behind the rest of the world. Not 100 years with the football. They're 7 years behind the rest of the world because the rest of the world are now doing talent identification and talent development. So India, the Football Federation of India, have got to start doing it like everybody else does it. Otherwise, they're going to get left behind again. It's no use waiting another 5-10 years and then thinking, oh, look at that. Let's have a look what they're doing. They need to get in there now and do it. You know what I mean? And learn all these things and open pathways for young people that are interested in, performance analysis and KPIs, key personal performance indicators and that of players. And not only that, you see, you've got so many people now on their iPads, doing Football Manager and things like this, and thinking, hang on a minute. I mean, you even go on your Football Managers, yeah, and you look for a scout, yeah. You look for Dave Hobson. Is Dave Hobson on there? No, he's not. Right. So it's obvious that some of the things, the information they're putting on there is not correct, and that's like it is in a lot of world. You know what I mean? We're here to try and help. To build a pathway for a football club.
Yeah, let me introduce Mr. Nilanjan Kumar Guha. He is the ACPP certificate and Premier Skill Level 1 Coach Educator. So we welcome you on show, Mr. Nilanjan Guha.
Being a football coach, I used to coach the age group of under 12 and under 14. But in this pandemic situation, it is very difficult to watch a player physically. So can it be possible that assessment can be done by watching videos? If so, then what are the drills that we can ask to those players?
What you've got to look at is again, before what Rahul were talking about, this technology all around the world. Yeah. Now, it just happens that everybody seems to come to me for the advice about the technology, the new technology, what's coming out. So what I do is I look at all different types of technology, yeah, and I see which is the best technology, not which is the one that I need to promote, because we don't promote anybody. All we do is work with the best, and if something better comes along, we work with them. So we don't have any contracts with anybody to work with, apart from at this moment we've got contract with Insta. So all our courses that we do, it's all endorsed by Insta. Now, there's a number of companies out there at the moment, and I'm working with a company now, and what happens, the company's called AI Scout, yeah? Artificial Intelligence Scout, if you want to go and have a look on the website. Now, what they do is, your players playing football, so what they do is they turn up with all the equipment, yeah, or whatever, and then what they do is they film the player, yeah. All the information of the player goes back into the computer, yeah, which is the artificial intelligence. So they can even put in, right, we've just seen a player in India, he's 14 years of age, he's called David Hobson, and he comes from a one-parent family. His father doesn't work, he died when he was younger. All this intelligence, psychological, technical, sociological, it all goes into the computer, yeah. And then what happens then is they've gone to the professional football clubs, yeah, in the UK, say Chelsea, Manchester United, gone to their academy. We've done the same for their kids, yeah. So what they do is, it's all in the computer. So they film your player, yeah, and then they do all his scores, his stats, how many times he kicked it, how many times he passed it, how many times he headed it, what family background does he come from, what psychologically, where does he come from. It all goes in the computer, and your player was scored 6.5, yeah. Now everybody in the academy is 7.1. So, that means then, well, you say, well, can he come into your... Well, no, he can't, because he hasn't got a 7.1. He needs 7.1 to get in, to try. Well, how do we improve on that? Well, this is what you have to do to improve. His lowest score was this, so he needs to improve on that to try and get to 7.
He is from PMSA, so he is the administrator since years now, so I would rather ask Mr. Priyam to ask questions.
Sir, my question to you, while interviewing someone for the position of football scout, what aspect or what traits shall we look for?
Well,
can you hear
me? Anybody can be a football scout, yeah? It depends what sort of football scout that person wants to be. Now, in this day and age, you've got a lot of people coming through at the moment that are heavily into analysis, data analysis and things like that, performance analysis, tactical analysis, individual analysis. So it depends really what that person feels comfortable doing. Now, if I said to you, right, will you go out now and you've got your course, will you go and look for some players of 6 or 7 years of age? Now, some people won't do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Going with the younger age groups. That's why the foundation phase scouts, I never knew what my success rate was until 13 years later. So I'd bring a 6-year-old young boy or young girl into my centre, but I don't know the results till 13 years later, do I? Because he's had to grow up, he had to go through the system. A bit like Marcus Rashford, and people like that. They've gone right the way through the system. So I knew that my first group of people that I took in at 6 years of age, by the time they got to 18 years of age, there was 10 of them players, full-time pros. I'm not saying full-time pros at Manchester United, you know what I mean? One of them was a full-time pro, two of them were full-time pros at Manchester United, but the others had gone on to other clubs, in the area like Preston North End, Blackpool. But they were all professional people. So, a football scout really has got to be a nice person. You've got to be able to communicate with everybody. You've got to be able to know what's happening in your area, all the local teams, visit the local teams. Don't just go, treat everybody the same. Like I said earlier on, I was in a unique position, which some people might be in India, Not only that, as well as them, as you're looking for them as a football player, you can also promote your own football club if you're a football club anyway. So Bengal, East Bengal, here's a shirt for your next thing, all the players have signed it. Maybe every now and then, here's free tickets for the game. Because, a lot of stadiums, Man United's a bit of an exception, but a lot of times, you go to a football stadium, at the moment they're all empty. But very rare a football stadium has got the capacity crowd for a game, yeah? So that means they might have 5,000 tickets left. So what they do at Manchester United, they give 5,000 or 2,000 tickets out to the local school. So each school, has 100 tickets for you, 100 tickets for you, and all the kids would turn up. And then what had happened then is all the kids would turn up, they'd all buy a programme, they'd all buy a bottle of pop or a bottle of water, they'd all buy something to eat, they'd all watch the match. So the club's actually making money because they're selling merchandise, and at the same time what they're doing is the crowd is getting bigger, which is helping the players anyway. But as far as it says, what do you need to be a football scout, is I'd say, first of all, you need to be a nice person that can communicate. You need to be able to love what you're doing. A lot of people love football, So if you love what you're doing, you don't mind sometimes, spending hours and hours doing something that you love doing, do you? It's like other sports, maybe going fishing, it's relaxing, it's nice, it's interesting, so you can't. A lot of the time, that's what they want. You want a nice person. You don't need. But in this day and age, what also you've got to think about is this, and this is probably my fault, yeah, because what you need now is a qualification that people recognise. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the moment in India, you haven't got a qualification until the Football Federation of India say, right, okay, this is our course. This is what Kriyam needs to be a football scout. He needs to know about his first aid in case somebody gets injured. You know what I mean? He needs to know about the technical side of the game, the physical side of the game, the sociological side of the game, the psychologist side of the game. He needs to know about growth indicators. You need to know these things, but that's for your federation. Now, if I came to India and I did a course, yeah, the certificate that we give you is recognised by most countries anyway. If you took your qualification to Egypt, they say, oh, professional football scout, yeah, come with us, you know what I mean, you've got a job. If you took your qualifications to America from us, they go, that's all right, because we're partners with Orlando, we're partners with DC United. I've even done a course in America for the actual MLS football scouts. Yeah, that's for the MLS headquarters for their people. You know what I mean? So we take it to America. Now, if I go to, there needs something set up in India, yeah, to give you that qualification. That's why I'm saying, right, that at some point the Football Federation of India must say, right, we need to do this and we need to do that, but we need somebody professional to tell us what to do. Yeah, not just me coming over to India, right, or getting the course, here's all your certificate each, and then I go back. You're not going to get anything out of it, are you? So something needs to be set up that says, well, right, when you finish this, you go for 6 weeks. We're partners with Bengal Tigers, so you go 6 weeks, have a look around their academy, speak to the coaches, let the coaches know what you've learned, yeah, and then you start putting people into East Bengal Tigers or whichever football club that you're working for. At the moment, I'm doing work with a person called Thomas Kronberg. Thomas is the throwing coach, the throwing coach for Liverpool Football Club.
Oh yeah, recently them coming up with the long throw idea. I just had heard about him being brought in for that particular reason, that you need throwing. You need
Thomas is also doing work with us. How many times this year have you done as a football coach? And I want an honest answer. Have you done throwing practicing?
As our session is 4 days in a week, we used to do sessions in 4 days.
How many sessions have you done?
4 days in a week. Yeah, I am telling that in 4 days in a week we used to do in a 4 days in a week a session, and we use before the competition period. Before the competition period, we used to practice throwing, and that is for only one session like that, because we do not get too much time.
Well, again, it's made through Thomas. I mean, Thomas is the world record holder for the longest throw in the world, and that is another key performance indicator, for a football club. If a football player is not the best player in the world, but you've got a player in your football team that can throw the ball the full length of the pitch, you're not going to leave him out, are you? You know what I mean? So you've got to look at all sides of it, and every so often you need to say to your players, right, all line up there now, right, get the ball, throw it, and you might get a surprise. One of them might just launch it that far, and you think, oh my God, where's that come from? Then that gives you another advantage on other teams. And also, I mean, Thomas is bringing out a few books. I think he's done some stuff online and all at the same time, which is interesting to us because, again, the likes of the AI scouts, the likes of Thomas doing the throw-ins as a coach, and expert goalkeeping coaches, expert analysis people, all people that work for us, we're going to take that to a full country.
Thank you so much, David, for joining us. Thank you so much for sparing your time and joining us in this wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thanks to all the panelists, and that's it from us in today's web session. Today's The Captain Speaks, the web session which has been organized by Pro India in association with Sports Flashes. It has been wonderful hosting you all. Thank you so much.